voice.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Overland podcast. We are live with Benji from Budget Overland, Tony from Bats Off Road, and I'm the Professor. Here we go. Thank you for joining us on the Overland podcast, brought to you by Professor Bats and Friends. We love to talk about it all: the gear we like to use, the places we like to go, and the things we like to do. Sometimes we'll have guests. Sometimes it'll be just us. You never know what you might get. But you always have Bats Off-Road and the Professor. Thank you for joining us. No pros, just bros on this show. Here we go. And we're live. Hey, man. Guys, how are y'all?
Good, man.
Rested. Finally.
Rested? Okay. Yesterday, not so much. Today's a little better.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah.
Sunday was pack up, take it home, get a little couch time, try to watch a little football, eat a little bit. Long shower. Long
for sure.
shower.
Yes.
And scrub a dub and try to get things cleaned up there and just try to recoup, get ready for the work week. Oh, did you get everything unloaded? Is everything ready to go for the next trip?
Not for me.
Yeah. Oh, well,
I've still got a
okay.
bunch of crap in my rig. I'll be honest with you. I've still got wrappers from the food on the way home Sunday
I
on the
love
floorboard
it.
of my rig.
I love it. Well, you just live out of it and see what happens. That's what you got to do. We got people jumping on here. We got Gen Xers have come on here. Good evening. Kira's on here. Hello, Kira. I hope you're feeling better. It's good to see you on here. Aaron Sharp from Lady on Toyotas. Galen was one of the cooks for the cooking contest that we got to judge. Appreciate him entering that. That was fun.
That's good.
Travis says, I left everything. I'm going back up. Cool. Cameron Johnson, evening, gents. We have recovered slightly from the Rendezvous. And No Berry Adventures, who had the winning chili, which apparently one of us in this room does not eat chili.
I don't eat chili, but I wonder if she won from the chili or from her homemade bread.
The bread,
It's fantastic.
when he opened up that little carton thing, it was like the angels sang. It was almost like it had some background music. And it was like this cheese biscuit thing. And I would encourage everybody to go to No Berry Adventures on their Instagram page, because she actually posted the recipe to the chili and the bread.
Nice.
So go on there, you'll be able to see it. Taylor, good to see you. Chris, who cooked for us most of the weekend, we appreciate y'all joining us tonight. What a weekend. The Natural State Overland Rendezvous in the Ozarks. I believe that wasn't this the 5th annual. So they had it with the 6th.
I think
Which
it was
one?
the 6th or
6th?
7th, but yeah, I'm leaning towards 6th then.
I think it was the 6th, because they had it on Mulberry Mountain the first time, and then they moved
Right.
it to Birds for the next 4 times, and then last year it was back at here, and then we had this one or 3 times, and then okay. Well, what did you think about? What do you think about the where it's at? What do you think about one compared to the other?
As far as from Birds to Mulberry, the venues, I guess.
Yeah. What do you think about the venue?
I think it's cool, but I really enjoyed Birds, to be honest with everyone. I like how it was kind of spread out. If you were the night owls, you were like on the complete opposite side of the campus, if you will, or the campground. And then the other guys were on the other side. But it was just really small, and obviously with size of the growth of each year, it just became too much. So if it was a smaller, crew or whatever, and it never got bigger or bigger, I'd say Birds is the way to go. But since it's getting bigger, I think Mulberry Mountain's awesome too, because it's so huge, and they've done well accommodating with the portable shower houses and the multiple porta potties and all that around the campus. And the dumpsters. A lot of people overlook the dumpster part because it would stink like no other if they didn't have the amount of dumpsters they did. So
true, and we always have rain every year. And that last year that we were at Birds with all the mud issues that we had, and I believe I don't know if they'll ever admit this, but I think that the mud and the complaints with the mud, people getting stuck, and then Birds complaining about us rutting everything up. I think that was the reason that they switched to go back to the Mulberry. I like the fact that we have cell service there.
Yeah,
we were able to turn the WeBoost on and actually have some internet.
Yeah.
And having the shower houses there for the people who were in campers, and it just seems so much bigger. So there's so much more room there for them to expand, do something to get more campers in there. When we were at Birds that last year, it seemed like we were packed in there like sardines. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people that were camped down, if you go into Birds and you go back to the left, back there where a lot of people were camped, they would have their nest built and say, "Oh, we've got a pretty good spot here." And then so many people came in, and it just crowded them.
I believe that was on a Friday that they blocked that field, to the right where it got all muddy and everything. So they forced everyone over there to the family room. That's where we were. And I was like, I've got friends over here. We're supposed to meet up and all this stuff. And no, they just wouldn't let us go over there. So like I said, you go set up camp. You feel like you got a decent platform or an area. And then like 4 or 5 other people roll, not even buddies, just random people roll up and start setting up their stuff because they had to. There was no room. And that was absolutely crazy.
It was. Yeah. And, that last year was probably one of the worst weather years that we had there. It ended up raining several of the days, had the straight line winds that came through and blew a bunch of people's stuff down, blew my awning completely off my FJ. The tent, the Artemis tent that we were working it blew that down.
Weren't you inside your rooftop tent trying to hold the
I was until the straight line when the phones went off. It's amazing, and I know the government's listening, but if we don't have cell service, but yet you make my phone go off when the tornado's coming, how's that work? I just don't know how that works. So you can get a hold of me, I just can't get a hold of you. But when the phones went off, I got down, I was sitting in my driver's seat, I felt my rooftop tent fall, my awning blow off, so I was in the safety. Mark Mason Berry's in the house. I just want to point out my hat, my blue line, pink, for breast cancer awareness for October. I'm supporting you. Amy says, nice hat, Professor. Thank you. Kara says, I like that Mulberry shuts it down for the event instead of allowing others to come in as well. That was another thing that we had going on at Birds that a lot of people didn't like, because you would pull in there, there would be side-by-sides everywhere, other events going on. So that was another thing. And Twin Lake says, it's great to see everyone this past weekend. I agree, and we're going to talk about that. Yeah. Before we get off into it, we have with us one of our good friends and esteemed colleague, Benji from Budget Overland. Benji, won't you take just a minute to tell everybody about Budget Overland and about what y'all got going on over there?
Sure. Well, I started the Facebook group back in 2021 as a way for me to share kind of tips and tricks I've been doing for my my 4Runner at the time. We all know this is very expensive hobby. And then you see people just buying stuff because they have no idea what their needs and wants are. And we always kind of preach, it's like, what do I need? What do I need? We're like, we'll just go out in the woods for a night or two, and you'll, take your basics, food, shelter, provisions, stuff like that. And you'll slowly kind of know. And then, then start doing the wheeling aspect and all that stuff. So anyway, I started that group back in 21. And then we started the podcast. Jay and I started it together. I had a co-host with me back in November of 21. And then we recently split this past year in April, just due to just button heads and stuff. But anyway, we've moved on to where we're at now. We started the podcast and then all that stuff, just to make it more of a community-minded kind of group. There's no one, I don't care who's in our group or who's not, or anybody that comes on the show or not, just most like you guys. You just want to build that community and, just educate people that are new, and then veteran people that could kind of sprinkle their knowledge on us. And It's kind of how it just evolved, and I just love it. It's fantastic. It's fun. If that
It's-
answered any of that stuff.
Yeah.
In a
It's
nutshell.
it's really an amazing place for people to go and connect. And I was looking through there today just for my podcast research that I was doing while I was doing my regular job. And so you've got what 50,000 members in that group?
Yeah,
That's
57.
incredible. 57,000.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
we had to turn off the Facebook suggestion portion on it because it was just being overwhelmed. With new people coming in, you'd like to kind of educate them on, sure, budget's cheap and to a point, but it's also budgeting before you make a big purchase decision. You need to understand if it's going to actually be practical for you or not. And then there's a lot of stuff behind the scenes, as far as like education. People will reach out to other people within the group. We try to set up connect, I guess, with people within other states to where they could do budget overland hangouts and kind of do trail rides and cleanups and all that fun stuff. So we're slowly getting more into that.
Yeah.
It's just a lot for, I've got a good moderator team, but, I've got a lot of fun ideas, just executing them and doing it well, not just to do it.
A lot of ideas, a lot, and very little time. That's what it seems like a lot. Rick England is on the show. Rick, we appreciate you being on here. I was actually
Mr.
able to talk to Rick a couple times, and him and Randy, and do some interviews with them. Rick, great job on the event. Kudos to you and all the Natural State Overland guys for putting on another great event, I believe. In my opinion, it was the best one that I've been to. And we'll talk about why here in just a minute. So, Tony, this was the first time that you and I have had our own booth, and that was a little bit different for us. We had some flags out, and we were just able to talk to people, but you were also going around and taking photos. So how was it different for you this year?
Well, I mean, just like you said, the photography was a big part of it, more so than usual. I think I downloaded off my big camera something like 2,900 images or files, and of course that's two. So it makes the raw file and the JPEG file. So roughly half of that, was like 1,400 images that I took. So
yeah,
and some of that was the files that we recorded for the podcast too. But it was busy. It was busy. A lot of time walking around, talking to people, and so.
I think that was due in big part to Rick and the Natural State guys. I think the biggest complaint or the biggest input that people had from last year to this year was the way that the vendor area was set up. Last year it was very spread out. It was just in a big square, and it seemed like it was 30 minutes to an hour before somebody would come by. This year, with the way that it was set up, and I guess you took up the drone and kind of described it into a big W that had an extra
an extra
just an extra W on it, but the way that they had it set up, it seemed like people were there constantly, and it was so much better in the vendor area to have people come by constantly. You could meet people, talk to people, and stuff like that. Benji, what did you think about the vendor area being changed, just being a regular tender?
I liked it. You could hop from conversation to conversation really easily. So if you're in one booth, and someone's over there and they kind of, want to talk about that subject or topic or whatever, you guys can have that. And then, just joke around too with other vendors without shouting or screaming.
Yeah.
But like last year, like you said, you had to walk in this giant square and you're like, well, where's Timmy or John here or whoever? Like, oh, they're over there, from your group or whatever. So I think it flowed a lot better for sure.
It did. And it seemed like, and I don't know if there were, I would have to ask Rick if there were more vendors there this year than there was last year, but it seemed like there was 3 times as many. Just because it was the way it was arranged. It was packed in there. We were almost in the same spot we were last year, but it was completely different. He said, yes, there were more this year, but it seemed like there were so many more just because of the way it was arranged. He says 10 to 12 more. So yeah, there was quite a few more, but last year I mean, you had to walk a quarter mile to get to all of them. And this
Yeah.
year, you could. It's a good thing there were several days where people could walk around, because you may get stuck on one row, talking to everybody, and end up having to go do something and just come back the next day. So really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Really
Yep.
enjoyed that, and being able to pack in there. Um, we weren't really close. I mean, we were close, but we weren't. It didn't feel like we were like sardine close.
Right.
Right.
Everybody was able to spread out, and I love being able to camp where the vendor area is. The guy who was with us from Pruitt Knives of Valor, he didn't realize that, so he had camped over in another part of the place, and he was having to drive back and forth. He didn't realize that he could have camped right there. So
Mm.
I think he said he would, if he comes back. Well, I'm pretty sure he'll come back because he sold a lot of
Mhm.
knives, but he'll definitely change that where he could come up and stay where his booth is. Um, Wade says, I thought the vendor rigs took away from the actual vendor booths, almost hard to navigate it. Um, not sure what he means by that. We were all having to, of course, we were on the outside, so we were parked behind our booth. I guess the ones that are in the center, that were camped in theirs was a little bit different. But Rick says all the changes were due to survey results, so please keep giving us feedback. So make sure you can go to naturalstateoverland.org, fill out the survey, and make sure you give them the feedback on that. Now, Benji, you were able to do a meetup with the
Yeah.
Budget Overland group. Tell us what was the thoughts behind that and how that went.
Sure. So last year, kind of last minute, I think I mentioned something in the group a day or two beforehand. I was like, "Hey, we're going to do a meetup. I'll drop a pin when we're there." And I didn't have any cell service last year. I don't know why, but we went down to Ozark to do some stuff because we were doing the Camp Cook Challenge and cooking, so we had to go get some, cooking equipment for that, or food to cook. So I dropped a pin while we were down there. I was like, "Hey, tonight, 6 p.m. or whatever, we're going to meet up right here." And so we had about 50, 60 people last year show up, and we gave away some Overland spices. I gave away some of our swag and all that stuff. But then got kind of the wheels turned. I was like, you know what? There's a lot of people that attend Rendezvous because I plug it, towards Rendezvous like year round. I'll kind of sprinkle it in there. I'm like, you guys got to go. Even if you go once in your life, you got to go.
Yep.
And so I know a lot of people from, the group are going, or listeners are going. So I was like, let's do a giveaway, a big one. So I started reaching out to sponsors and some companies, and even people within the group. They're like, hey, I'd like to contribute, to this thing. And some people were anonymous and some people weren't. And we ended up giving away like 48 items or something, I think totaling like $2,500 worth of giveaways, which was really fantastic. It was just a good way to meet people within the group. It's really hard for me. I'm horrible with names, but like avatars and like your, profile pictures is really hard for me if I meet you in person, vice versa, because you're just used to staring at, I guess, longer. So a lot of people, we'd come up and talk and all that stuff, and they had to just remind me who they were. But I just figured it'd be nice to put faces with names for most of these folks that, they're states away from each other, and then just have a fun giveaway just as a, why not? People love free stuff. So I thought it was really fun.
Yeah, it seemed like it was pretty cool. Do you have any idea how many people showed up that
There was a
night?
bunch.
I
There's a
goof
lot.
around. I think at least more than 20, but I'd say, around 200 was fair.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
There was a bunch. I was like, oh my gosh, when I was walking over there, there's a huge crowd by the
yeah,
stage.
yeah,
I
it was
thought,
really fun
oh
to
my,
see.
yeah,
Yeah,
that was awesome.
Very neat. That one, and what a great idea to have a meetup at a meetup.
yeah, yeah,
Because
Yeah.
you've got sales that are within the group,
yeah,
and so a lot of people are talking about the porta potties. That was one of the things that they were said they were sparse. And
hmm
Rick said this is also an issue. They try to spread them out so they're not a smell.
right,
Now, we were able to talk with Randy and Rick. They were riding around on the side by side, and that was actually one of the things that they brought up. So here we are, Mulberry Mountain. We are probably 50 miles from the nearest pretty good sized city.
hmm
And I don't know if you know this or not, but there are not porta potty people just everywhere.
Mhm.
And he said trying to get people that have those to come out to this event, there's maybe one or two that would even consider it, and then paying them to bring all those porta pots out there is an astronomical cost for them.
Yeah.
And so I was
and
thankful
to
for the
come
ones that we
back
had,
and check on them.
and to come
Oh,
back
yeah.
and check them,
Yeah.
so that actually, they would actually, be supported
Serviced.
or changed
Yeah.
out of service, whatever.
Yeah.
And I don't, and if a lot of us look in the mirror, a little walking wouldn't hurt us. So it wasn't that bad of a deal.
What are
And
you
we
saying?
just, hey,
That's exactly why I brought my own pooper.
yeah.
I'm too lazy.
I'm bringing
Oh
the scooter
man,
next year.
yeah. Hey,
I'm bringing
wonder how the weather up there is in Michigan right now. I bet
I'm
it's
sure
getting
it's
cold.
sunny and 75.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, for sure. Oh man, were any of y'all able to do any trail rides where you were there?
No, I went down. I had to get my wheels and tires muddy a little bit. I can't be a poser. I'm just joking. We went to OARC. Well, first of all, Saturday we went down to do some laundry because we didn't pack a whole lot of stuff. And then plus, when I go camping, I don't necessarily pull my down blankets out to wash them all the time. So my wife was with me, and she's like, "These stink. We've got to we got to go wash these." I was like, "All right, cool." So we went down to Ozark, did that, and then I met up with a friend of mine, Wade, and his wife, and we're like, "Hey, let's go look at some scenic trails, county roads, whatever, and then we'll go over to OARC Cafe and do that." So anyway, I had to be back by 3 and do the judging for the dinner portion of the cook-off stuff. So not necessarily trailing, and when my wife's with me, this is her second year with me, I try to make it fun and accommodating for her and I. And typically, if it was just me and the guys, sure, we'd go out there, do a day trip, and then rush back to camp. But that didn't happen.
Yeah.
And it's okay.
It's okay.
Yeah, it's fine. You got to make it comfortable for everybody.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah. I was not able to get away. My vehicle was set up in our booth and kind of boxed in. But my wife actually went on one of the women's rides that went down Beach Grove Road, and
Nice.
And she rode with Danielle from Go Explore USA, and they had 12 rigs of women drivers. And that was her first one of those to ever go on, and she thought it was the greatest thing ever.
Nice.
They had female spotters, female drivers, and it was like, I'm woman, hear me roar type of deal. But it was
a
it was
foggy
pretty
morning,
good.
right?
The foggy morning, the very foggy morning. So it was good to have her come back, and she had mud all over her pants, and she just had a smile from ear to ear, and she just absolutely loved it. So Travis said Matt's night ride was definitely fun this year. I saw that Matt did a night ride. I'm sure that was very interesting, the places that Matt likes to go. But it seemed like everybody that went on, I think on the ladies' ride, one of them hit a deer and kind of put a little dent in one of their Land Rovers. But I think everybody had fun. There were quite a few motorcycles there.
Yeah,
that was awesome.
And so that was really cool.
Bikes,
yeah, the adventure bikes really showed up this year. I thought that was pretty cool.
That Harley was pretty cool.
Hey, you need to simmer down.
Do tell.
You need to simmer down.
Would you ride in on a Harley or something?
No, he wants to ride in on the Harley adventure bike though.
You're gonna make me cry.
There was one in I forget what booth it was, but there was one in a booth that was really pretty cool.
Yeah, it was neat. Well, but like I said, I wasn't able to get out and do that. But Rick said actually the deer hit them, so that's pretty funny that they were driving down through there and the deer ran into them. That has happened more than once, but and we won't talk about women drivers. But
it just came out of nowhere.
I mean, I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. The deer just hit me. Oh, well. That's okay. Funny. Pruitt and Eyes of Valor, thank you for joining the show, Michael Pruitt.
Dear.
You have some of the coolest stuff. Love it.
Yeah.
One thing that we all got to participate in one way or another was the Overland Spices Ultimate Camp Cook competition. Now, Benji, you and I have entered this competition before, so this time we were actually on the other side of the table, which that was pretty neat to me.
It was. I was expecting more people, and we need to help, push this event for Tate just a little, because it's fun. It's a blast. There's a lot of people out there that are actually good cooks and chefs or whatever, and it's just fun to sit around, especially on the judging side. We're like, how harsh do we need to be or whatever. It's just like we just all had fun with it and got some killer food out of it too.
We did, and having gone through what they go through, because the food actually has to be prepared in the wild. It cannot be pre-prepared or anything like that. But knowing what they go through now, when you and I cooked it at Big Iron Overland Rally last year, it was 1,000 degrees. So that was a little different, but it's a lot more fun to cook in the cold. But the things when he got in there and opened up the little cartons and would show, they would go through my mind all the things that they had to do to prepare that food,
right,
to make it look good, to make it taste good, and to get it there on time and keep it hot. So that was neat to be on the other side of the table trying that stuff, I thought.
Yeah.
The things that people turned in, we did breakfast that morning, had several different breakfast burritos. There was one meat that had egg inside of it, which was really good. And, several different things like that. Lunch, we didn't do, but the grilled cheese is one of the things that blew me away, how good it was. The kids actually went way above and beyond whatever I ever thought they would. And that was really good. The dinners at 3 were mind blowing. The very first one that you opened up had a alligator head in it, so I posted that on my Instagram because that was cool.
I didn't know what to do. I was like, do we have to eat that also?
I really hope we don't have to eat that, anyway.
I got this funny picture of PJ. There's this long table and there's judges around it and nice. Tate at the end, and PJ's on the ground. Everybody's eating their, samples or whatever, and PJ's sitting there looking up at the table, and it's like she's sitting there waiting for her sample to
waiting for somebody to drop some.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. We actually had both of our dogs in there at one time during the dinner, and they were both begging for food because they're both foodies. But I think what Tate's trying to do there is a really neat thing. One of the things that I love to do when I camp is to cook. And so it just gives you an opportunity to kind of put yourself up against what everybody else is doing. And it's really fun. And plus, we got to eat really good. The chili was good. We had a couple chilies to do, and that was good. I know, Benji, you're not a chili guy, but the chili, I eat a lot of chili. Especially this time of year, and the chili that No Barrier turned in, oh my gosh, was amazing with the beer bread. So
even with carrots in it.
Oh yeah, even with carrots.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I had carrots. I didn't even realize I had carrots in it. I mean, I was just eating it, and when everybody was done, I went back to that bowl and ate the rest of it.
Yeah, I was watching her reel on when she made that, and I was like, oh my gosh, that looks good.
Yeah, it was good. And I didn't know, of course, we don't know who turned stuff in, but I saw afterwards that she had posted that on their socials, and I saw that she had made that, and I was like, oh man, I know who made it now. That's good. Just can't get away from the carrots and chili. Okay, I understand that. I get that.
Science.
Yeah.
But anyway, I love what Tate's doing there. Overland Spices sponsoring that. Several different spices. They have good prizes to give away. I think Tate had talked about that next year for Big Iron and also for the Rendezvous, they're going to try to get that part of registration. So because there was a bunch of people that said, well, I didn't know anything about it. So just get the word out there. And I don't know how you don't know anything about it because it's everywhere. It's everywhere. It's posted everywhere. I mean, you have to live in a hole and not have any internet to not know that it was not.
Yeah, and if there's anybody listening that doesn't have the Yap app, make sure and get that downloaded because there's still things going on right now. I'm getting notifications of people uploading pictures and things. So there's still good stuff there that somebody would find useful for next year.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
still getting notifications. I got several today.
Yeah.
So the Yap app is definitely a place to go on that. And it's good to have since we had service there.
Yeah.
Yeah, made a big difference. Now the giveaway is at the end. That's always the big grand finale where Rick gets to show off and show out. I did not get to attend that. Now, Tony, you were up there taking pictures and doing all kinds of stuff. How did that go for you?
He was all over the place.
I was just trying to find a place to be where I could take a picture and not block somebody's view. I was like, it's like that Saturday night episode or that Saturday Night Live episode of like I don't know what to do with my hands.
I don't know what to do with my hands.
I don't know what to do with my hands. I couldn't. Anyway, I was all over trying to find a good place to be, get a good shot. It was definitely a learning experience. There's a lot to cover.
Well, it seemed like it's different because people drive their rigs to this one. Where at the other one it was all just lawn chairs and all the stuff like that. Do y'all think that detracts from that, or does that add to it?
I don't know. Maybe I don't know, because people don't sit behind the rigs, so it almost forces people to get even closer. Because and you don't want to be that guy if you get your name called and you're like 15 minutes to get to the front. It's like it forces people to get up there.
Yeah, Rick threatened a few of them. I'm gonna draw another number if you don't.
I think.
Several years ago, it was almost 11 o'clock by the time they finished because it just took so long to get all the prizes handed out. You got to do that in a timely manner.
It is. Yeah. It is. It's very good now, efficient, I feel. And people are getting quicker because they don't like to be called out for being slow.
Yeah. Click, click, boom. Rick's like, click, click, boom.
Yeah. I think we've expired or retired the burn it.
How did y'all feel about the prizes that were donated by the vendors? Do you feel like it was?
Yeah, they were great. They were all over the place too. Even like the Pruitt Knights of Valor was crazy. I was like, I almost went up to that lady. I was like, "Would you take this much for it?" It's like, no,
can we buy the prizes?
No,
yeah, she's watching.
As all get out.
She's watching. That was Erin that commented at the beginning. She's the one that won that night.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
well, good for her. Good for her.
Yeah, they were great.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. Well, what's your overall feel about the event? So, Benji, start with you. What's your overall feel about the event and looking forward to next year?
I always love looking forward to this. I think next year I'm going to set aside more time for trailing. Either come down a couple days early. We came down Wednesday, but we stayed with my folks. So we rolled in kind of early into the Ozarks Thursday morning, but we wanted to kind of back road into the OARC Cafe and then kind of crisscross back over towards Mulberry and then check in. We got there about noon or 12 or 2 o'clock, my bad, on Thursday, kind of set up, established camp. We were meeting up with some friends there, but I think either finding time to go early or late, because I wanted to get in some like good wheeling before the trip. There's people out there. A lot of them go to the closer trails. Some of them go out to the further trails, which is fine. But, a lot of people, they'll get in those bottlenecks sometimes on the trails. I don't want to be a part of that. But I think just for me personally, I think to show up early. But every year, I just look forward to it. It's like a giant family reunion. We say it all the time. You guys say it all the time. It's like meeting people. I've got friends there I met 5 years ago. And it's like, it's like you just left campfire, the night before, and you just pick up where you left off. It's awesome. So
That's right.
Tony, what's your overall feel about the event and looking forward to next year?
Yeah, I love where the event's going. I love the location. We've been camping there with our 4-wheelers and our fifth wheel, years ago, and so we're pretty fond of that particular venue. Like the birds too. I don't have anything against birds, but I like where it's at. I like having service. The organization of the vendor area I thought was really good. There's a post on the Natural State Overland page, with the an aerial view of the vendor layout. So it seems to be very well received. I think they're on the right track with that. I, I personally, I think I'm gonna sort of like with more and with this event, I've never been on a trail ride. I've always
Mm-hmm.
been sort of at the event, involved in a booth or in some way. I've never done S'more to More. I've never done any of the guided trails. So, Arlen and I were talking earlier. I think I want to maybe next year take and experience that side of this event.
I think that's a good idea.
Uh,
That's a good point.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, I'm the same way. Every single year that I've been to Rendezvous, I've worked a booth. Every single year of more, I've worked a booth. I've never got to actually experience it as a regular attendee, and it makes a difference when you feel like you're just bogged down and you're stuck in a spot.
Yeah.
yeah,
It
Hey,
really
let's
takes me.
uh let's make it happen. So Moore's coming up here, April, whatever, is it 20th through 22nd, something like that.
Hmm.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so I feel like if we even carpool together, we don't need all our rigs out there. That'd just be fun to experience because, like you said, never get away from it. That'd be really fun.
Yeah.
Same thing with Rito. Plan a day to go do a trip ride with some buddies, or just join one of their, trail guides and do that. That'd be fun.
Yeah,
I agree.
yeah, heck yeah,
I agree. I'd like to see it from another perspective. We've got to uh, we've we've got to just make that decision to do that,
Yeah.
and just do it because I want to experience what everybody else experiences. Because we get on here and talk about how great it was. Well, we only saw one side of it,
yeah,
Right.
and everybody that's commenting on here saw a different side than we did, but. Everybody sees something different and experiences something a little different, and I think that just coming in there and being able to do whatever you want whenever you want is a
Hmm.
completely different take on the experience that we had.
yeah.
And that's a good idea, Benji. Just decide to do it. And
Hmm.
so I don't know. Maybe next year we won't have a booth or anything like that, or we'll just do what we
Be
can and
Put a closed sign. We'll return it later this
yeah.
afternoon.
Yeah,
That's all
yeah,
you need.
we'll just have to close up, and Thursday was an optional day, but we just hung out there because that was
Mhm.
the day that all of our buddies came in,
Yeah.
and it was good to see everybody. And next thing we know, the sun's going down. We're sitting around a campfire,
Yeah.
but Friday we were at the booth, Saturday we were at the booth, and then Sunday, we went home. Of course, we went home Saturday evening, but um, it's just one of those things where you just have to decide, hey, I want to do, and get the most out of it because if you're like me, if you're like Tony, you don't get a whole lot of vacation time, and
Hmm.
if you take that Thursday and Friday off and you use that vacation time, use it wisely where you get the most out of it. So
Right.
There you go.
anyway, well, I think it was a great event. I love the event. Just like always, like you said, Benji, we say it over and over again. It's like a big family reunion. People start coming by the booth. There was guys there that I had done the uh, what is that adventure trail that starts out there in New Mexico and goes up through Colorado? What's that called?
Enchanted Rockies
The
Trail.
Enchanted Rockies Trail. There were guys there I had done the Enchanted Rockies Trail with 5 years ago, and I haven't seen them since then.
Oh wow.
And that was so cool. One of them actually was the one who won the dinner portion of the cooking competition,
Oh nice.
and I had camped with him for 10 days on that trail, and that was so fun to see them.
Wow.
And just getting together with people that you only get to see once or twice a year. It's
Yeah.
it's that type of deal. So anyway, it was a great event, and I can't wait till next year. Really
Yeah.
can't. Yeah. Well, hey, that's about all I got. Y'all got anything else?
Well, let's talk about
Mm,
something that's upcoming.
okay. What you want to throw out there, Tony?
Wink, wink.
You want to do a world premiere right here on
Yeah, let's do
live
a world
that'd
online,
be
premiere
Tony?
right
great.
here. Yeah,
All
let's
right.
do it.
Well, go ahead. Talk
Let's
about it.
let's have us a camp out, and
Okay.
all the folks on here listening, the only ones that know about it.
All right.
All
Yeah.
of us. We're gonna go in with The three of us and my wife, as a representative of Lady Overlander Radio, want to have a listener camp out.
Okay.
Yeah. Kind of thinking about the second weekend of December.
Okay.
Yep.
And it would be listener only. No
Listener
promotion
only.
outside. No Instagram. No Facebook.
We're not posting this.
Yeah.
We're not posting this. Yeah.
So what we'll do is like drop a pin. With
Lord have mercy! Look at all this. Yes.
Yeah,
Hey,
I told you. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
So it would be like the second weekend of December, and we'll be like, look, we're gonna drop a pin like what, 48-hour notice or something. It maybe like a week, so you guys can kind of plan. But
yeah,
that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Show
think
up
so.
if you get the cords. That's it.
That's right.
Yeah.
So I suppose we could just post the cords, on our.
I would do like a week
Facebook
before
or Instagram or something.
A few days before.
Not even say anything what it is.
Mention it on the last podcast before.
Yeah.
Get people to tune in.
Hey, mark that date on your calendar. You will want to come to this. This
funny.
is going to be a pretty cool thing, and I think it's going to be pretty.
Hopefully,
cool.
a lot of y'all come. We, didn't get enough of you this last weekend.
Well, this is the best comment. This is the best comment. Would be the best hosts ever. Exactly. I love it.
Right on.
I love it. So, second weekend of December, we'll have a Christmas camp. It'll be fun. Benji's going to wear his reindeer outfit, and the rest of us will show up, and we'll just celebrate.
Take target practice.
Yeah. Everybody wants to dress up like a deer in the woods in Arkansas in the winter. That's exactly what we do. Maybe you can just run into a vehicle like the other deer did.
Yeah.
I mean, just
run into
you
the
see
side
a
of
female driving, just run into the vehicle. Yeah. Well, it'll be fun. I bet you it won't be that cold. Arkansas, sometimes December is not that bad. February, that's bad. But it'll be fun. But mark that on your calendar. It is going to be awesome. It'll be right around central Arkansas, somewhere probably up in the Ozarks, somewhere
in Arkansas.
And it'll be big enough to hold everybody, and it'll be amazing. I promise you.
At least 5 rigs.
At least 5, because the 3 of us have 5 rigs.
Yeah.
So if nobody else shows up, we'll be there.
You guys and your wives each got a rig. I forgot that.
Yeah.
Hey, we're gonna have to make sure the old guys fish campers listening. Maybe they can help us hold the spot.
Yeah. Well, they watch us on YouTube, so we'll get a message from Scott. But hey, guys, I appreciate y'all joining us. Benji, thank you for taking time out of your day coming on here with us. It was an honor. We truly enjoyed it. You didn't get to play your guitar, but we'll do that next time.
It's fun.
Tony, I hope you get to feeling better. I know you've been down under the weather, and
thank you, buddy.
I hope you get to feeling better. Everybody else, enjoy your week. If you went to Rendezvous, it was amazing. If you didn't, plan on going next year. It'll be in October, probably the second weekend in October. Mark that on your calendar, and also mark on your calendar second weekend in December, because we're going camping. Y'all have a good week. Look out for number 1. Don't step in number 2. Praise God. You was to be looking on the Gaia maps.
Yeah.
GAIA maps.
Yeah.
You would notice that we are a heck of a long ways from where we started and from where we're going.